Boom, boom.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Woo!
welcome to the first show of 2022.
So
Damn
it's
it.
2020.
The year of our
No,
Lord.
no.
It's
Let's not do that.
2020,
Let's not do that.
but
Let's not do
two.
that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
2020, the sequel.
No, nobody.
Yes.
No, nobody wants to relive that. Okay, nobody. Not one person.
Why wouldn't we want to relive 2022? That was when we started, sir.
With Vince
When Vince
McMahon
McMahon
booking. Damn, pal. Remember that coronavirus?
Bring it back.
Swear it
Put
all.
two of them out there.
Oh God, Jesus, that would be horrible. You know, this. Listen, it's like those like TikToks where they say, "Oh, what's your first name? What's your last name? Coronavirus." Like, come on, yo. Like, come on. Like, this is ridiculous now.
Bruce, get in here. What's the name of that? No, let me.
I hope that wasn't on
let me
TV.
stop.
Yeah, we'll
I mean,
keep
Bruce.
that one's for after the show. That was
Oh
for
my
after the
God.
Cutting room floor. We'll be selling
man.
those DVDs once we.
This is what we do, y'all. This is what we do. As you already know, let's jump into this. As always, I am your brother man, K Marvel, the man of 1,000 questions.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is
Oh,
your
God.
boy, QS.
Oh, God.
What's
Just that
going on? It's your boy, the Big Stretch.
And it's S dot to the drag. It's Striker Dragon.
Oh my God!
I'm back.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
Wow.
Coming out with
Wow, that
Yes.
really just went there.
Oh my
Oh
goodness!
my God. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, we are your boys, the Four Corners of Commentary. Oh man.
No
That
Monica
was-
Gaines to four.
Right, coming
I saw
out
that.
for
I
the
saw
new
that. It
year.
looked this way, like you was trying to disown Striker for a second.
That's because I have a bad finger. This finger isn't completely straight.
Oh my God. Oh man. So
And
look,
sexual
man,
finger.
I really don't even know. I don't even know what to say right now. That was a hell of an intro. So once again, thank you for watching. First and foremost, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. We really do appreciate every single one of those things. If y'all know how anything works with the damn algorithm and all
You
of this
must
other
like the
shit.
videos. Always like the videos. It helps us pop up on
Hit that like, hit
everybody's
that
thing.
subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell before we come and give you hell. That's how we get these views
Oh,
and we come on that algorithm, buds.
Starting
So
2022
definitely-
hot, man.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
right,
So-
Mago. Mago, make
so-
sure you like, share, and subscribe to podcast.
Oh
Mago.
my God. Oh my Jesus. So definitely do that, please. I just want to say before we really get into this, thank you for everybody who has been part of the Council of Commentary on our Facebook page and our Twitter page. We really appreciate you guys for always supporting not only us but our actual pages and being a part and being a constant, like constantly putting things up and chatting and all of that jazz. Shout outs to everybody who subscribed on YouTube and all of our listening audio podcasts, parts, versions, and all of that stuff. We really appreciate y'all. I'm actually going to start with the comments today.
Okay.
I'm not going to post it, but Courtney, thank you for always showing up. We hope your dad gets well. We're happy he's out the hospital. So much love to Courtney. This is our boy. Excuse me. Oh, geez, that was horrible.
You coughed 3 times. You better log the fuck off.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah,
So what's good?
We're not
What's
even-
going on?
The beauty of that comment, we're not even next to each other's, folks. He
Yeah,
can't even
that's-
cough in his own house.
Dirty. Dirty.
No, I'm not trusting that. I ain't trusting none of that.
Moses. Oh God. Moses,
Dirty.
as always, what's going on, brother? Dark Lordism. Great fucking name. What's up,
Oh, I know
y'all?
who that is. Shout out
Who's
to
that?
that's my boy. I know who that is.
Hey, shout outs. And then he also said he hopes that the channel blows up one day. Thank you, brother.
Soon.
We really
And
appreciate
we
it.
do too, brother.
Soon.
Yeah, don't we?
Thank you, though. I
Don't we?
know who he is. I'm not gonna blow up his spot or anything like that. Say his name, but I know who that is, and thank you very much. For,
Gotcha.
tuning in and giving us some New Year's shout outs like that. Thank you, brother.
All right. So on today's show, we're essentially covering the state of wrestling. So at this point, I kind of figured we stay on the topics of the last number of weeks. There's been a lot going on, a whole hell of a lot. There's been a ton of shows, a lot of championship changes, a lot of new champions. There's been a lot of
Old champions. No, I'm kidding.
wow.
Retaining
There's been a lot of
champions.
comments. There's been a lot of comments made. There's been a lot going on. There's been a whole hell of a lot going on. So, how we starting this, gentlemen?
Do we go dark or do we just ease in? Because
Nah, man. I say we.
I say
wow.
we get to that.
Wow.
That, yeah.
Wow.
I say
You know
that
what?
we-
I'm ending the show. That's it. I can't anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We are
It
not.
was real, y'all. Well, it was real.
It was good. It was good. It was a good episode, y'all. Great 7 minutes.
Well, we
It was
get
good.
content.
It was good.
I would say that we should start with basically the tweet that has had wrestling Twitter on fire for the past week or so.
yep.
With the
I
whole
agree.
Big Swole and Tony Khan situation. To premise for those who are not in the know, Big Swole recently she did an interview on her own podcast, I'm assuming, or with Fightful Select. One of the
No,
two?
she did so it was called the call-in. I
The
believe
Call-In.
this was she
Her
used a
first show.
call-in app basically for people calling in, giving comments and
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
And from what I assume, this might be her first episode for her
I believe
upcoming
so.
podcast.
Indeed.
So Swole spoke about her time in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things which she was happy to be a part of, but also some pointers of things that she would like for the company, even though it was a great experience for her.
Constructive criticism, what she would like to see be improved upon, and what she would like to see on her end be more represented, what she labeled as being more diversity throughout the show. She referenced her daughter coming to her and explaining to her that when she watches AEW, her daughter is a very young girl, an adolescent.
Mhm.
Her daughter referenced that she didn't see too many people that looked like her, meaning black.
Yep.
And, she pointed that out in her, I guess for lack of a better term, criticism. I was going to say diatribe, but I wouldn't want to say diatribe. I feel like that's negative. She pointed that out in her criticism, and, it was replied to by Tony Khan, in which he pointed out that, he's had people of color, specifically black people, win on the show in the last month, and that he released Swole not necessarily because there was a mutual disagreement, but because he felt that her wrestling was subpar. And thousands of Twitter fingers went off at once, millions of Twitter fingers, of course, on wrestling, which is always usually not the nicest thing in the world to happen at once. And here we are. So I guess the question is, for us, how do we feel about said tweet? And how do we feel about the issue that was being addressed at hand? Since I'm talking, I offered to go first on this topic, and I want to preface by saying my views. I want to preface three things. I'm not calling Tony Khan anything he isn't. I don't believe Tony Khan is a racist in any way, shape, or form. I don't think he's a bigot. I don't think that he has any discriminatory practices in any of his businesses. Do I agree with Big Swole? Yes and no. Yes, in the respect that I think it is a representation issue, specifically on the men's main event and singles side when it comes to specifically black wrestlers and wrestlers of color, honestly, when it comes to men's main eventing and mid-card representation. And this is on the single side. I think the women actually are well represented. I think AEW as a whole is, in fact, a diverse company. You do see performers of color. You do see performers that are black. You see performers that are Mexican, Puerto Rican. You see Asian performers, and they're not like, for the most part, not presented in a light that would make you question whether he has the best interests of these talents at heart.
Right.
But I do think on the men's side, there is a stark representation problem when it does come to performers of color. And I know a lot of people are probably hearing this and saying, oh, what about Scorpio Sky? What about Sammy Guevara? What about Powerhouse Hobbs? What about, your Dante Martins, your Sean Deans and stuff like that? And I get that.
Leo Rushes and Leo
Rushes, those are performers of color and they are on spots on the card. But I don't it just doesn't feel like, to me at least, and this is just strictly my opinion, whether you agree with it, I can care less. But, it doesn't feel like the same investment, that they had maybe in like a Hangman Page or a Kenny Omega or, even somebody like Brody Lee when he won the TNT championship, God rest his soul. I think AEW can get there? Absolutely. And again, I'm saying this for the men's division because I could probably sense that some of you guys are going, well, Jade Cargill won the TBS championship last night. I get that, and, I understand also that this is a young company, so these issues cannot be addressed overnight. My problem more so was his response to the tweet, and his
everybody's problem.
Yeah. His response to, you'll be surprised who it's not. And I think that's the issue really at hand that's being pretty overlooked. My main issue was, and I honestly can say I lost a little bit of respect for Tony Khan because I've seen him in public interviews and stuff like that. And to me, while he does come across as a dork, for lack of a better word, he always does have a pretty intelligent response and always does have a pretty valid response, whether it be from criticism. But he came across like a petulant child in responding to Big Swole's criticism. And it's a subjective experience or criticism, essentially. Yeah. This is not an end-all, be-all. It is literally a subjective experience. Like, we don't have enough anecdotal data to say, like, oh, well, AEW is this place, AEW is that place. We don't work there. We don't know anybody that works there. All we can go off is opinions, and that was her opinion. That doesn't make it a fact. With that said, how he replied to that was not only publicly humiliating, but belittling her opinion in a respect, because to me, he's not handling that criticism in a professional way at all. It's like he's a businessman. He's not some Redditor or anything like that has a shroud of anonymity to him when he replies and stuff like that. He has to do a lot better in the respect that there are going to be people who disagree with how his product is presented and how his product operates and stuff like that. But for him to come out and publicly embarrass that young lady like that for no reason whatsoever outside of the fact that he disagreed with her and still hasn't apologized, really, which I think he should do, because his criticism of her had nothing to do with the topic which he was talking about.
Right.
And I thought it was pretty damning of him to even take it to make it a personal shot. My issue is not necessarily whether AEW is diverse. I think AEW is very diverse. Do I think that there can be more representation in certain spots? Absolutely. I don't think that hurts. But if he's going to respond like that, I don't think that, let me put it this way. I don't think that it ever hurts to have that conversation of whether you can be better represented in your company, and especially in its public faces. I understand he has executives of color and stuff like that. That's not what she was questioning. She was questioning, as a wrestler, about the wrestlers on the show. And I don't think that it ever hurts to have that conversation. But if he's going to reply in that manner when that is brought up, is he really is he mature enough to have that conversation? That's my questioning now. Like, his perception, he did himself no favors in any way, shape, or form. You know, so I was more so mad at his response rather than the subject matter.
Mhm.
Q, you want to go? Or you?
You know,
Whew.
this entire ordeal for the past, say, couple weeks going on, even into the new year, I find it kind of sad that we're still on this certain topic again of when it
Mhm.
comes to representation. For the longest, everyone has been telling y'all, when they show you who they are, believe them. This is the case that there's not a surprise. It should never be a surprise that there is no actual lack of true representation in this company. I don't want to hear anymore about them being, oh, they're still brand new, they're brand new. That's always a go-to excuse for any time AEW is falling on short on when they're being held to fire. Oh, they're new, they're brand new. That's in the grand scheme of things in this world, whether you're new or not, it doesn't matter. You know better. You're in a current climate, you know better.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
And we're just going with a black and white situation. There is no one was ever talking about diversity of what of this isn't diverse enough because we know it's diverse enough. We know there's other minorities in here. We're only speaking. Big Swole was literally only speaking on the black experience,
Yep.
her experience as a black woman. And instead of everybody just taking that into account and validating it and understanding it, everyone then proceeded to be like, oh, but what about me? What about me? What about this? Bringing all other minorities into this and basically silencing whatever Big Swole was basically trying to talk about, like they always do to a black woman. And that has always been an ongoing problem. Now, all of a sudden, the only thing that you can see on when you go online is everybody calling Big Swole, calling her the angry black woman, calling her out of her name, speaking down on her ill of her work. People who have never laced up boots are going to sit here and tell this woman tell this woman about her craft.
Right.
Amazing how when it's a black woman that comes out and says something, oh, everybody's all up in arms. Oh, what about me? What about me? What about this? No, that's not what happened. We have this. You're bringing all you name all. Tony Khan did the typical gaslighting campaign where you're going to bring up all the so-called black wrestlers that you have on your roster. 8. You brought up 8 names. Brought up 8 names out of what? Maybe well over 100 people in this company. Wow, that's nice. That's nice, Tony. And it's great that even Swole's husband, Cedric Alexander, even when he even retweeted and is like,
Missed the point.
You missed the entire point. And this is literally what I think everybody is doing. Everyone is purposely just missing the point.
Yeah.
Or don't care enough to listen.
Call it a black and white.
Don't care enough to listen.
Look at the black and white of the situation. There's not that many there's not that much black representation on AEW. It's the truth.
No.
It's the truth. I don't want to hear anything about, oh, this and that. It's not. It's never has been. It probably never will be. No time soon. Yes, Jade Cargill just won the TBS championship yesterday. More power to her. Bravo. She deserves it. You gave her a secondary championship instead of making her the actual AEW champion, women's champion. That would have probably looked even better. That would have actually looked even better and made it look like, oh, representation. Instead, you're giving another message that this is another secondary title to make. Oh, that's making it come off to, and others have a right to feel this way. Oh, let's just give this so the blacks can shut up.
Yep.
Let's give us this title so the blacks can be quiet. And we're going to just sit here with the AEW title and just keep on going up Britt Baker's ass and basically shoving her down at everybody's throats every single week. Because, DMD. Stupid. You have fans literally going in Big Swole's comments. Comments in her DMs, calling her out of her name, calling her the actual racial slur with Swole.
Kid.
Like, yeah, that's clever.
Time and time again, right?
Notice
and once again, all the wrestling community is doing is proving Big Swole's point.
Yep.
When a black person comes out and says something, oh, it's always the contrary.
It's always a race card. It's always this.
No, I'm not done. It's always the contrary of everybody trying to sit here and say, "Oh, but what about this? What about that?" We have Scorpio Sky. Really? We're gonna. That's the go-to every single time. Oh, we have Scorpio Sky. We're pushing Scorpio Sky. You don't have Scorpio Sky. Yeah, you don't even have Scorpio Sky getting pushed to the moon. So what are you talking about? You have Powerhouse Hobbs coming out giving a statement of how this is much of a family and how this actually is it's a good environment to work in. No one said it was a bad environment to work in to begin with. Swole literally said it on her podcast. She gave praise that like, yo, it's like a family.
Absolutely.
She
Never
gave criticism.
Never disparage the company and never disparage the man that runs it.
Never did. But instead, of course, because you already know that this is PR 101. You just have the owner coming to all the black wrestlers or all the ones of minority to basically just come out and say, "Oh, I love this company. Yeah, this company is actually nice." It's a simple PR stunt, and everybody's just falling for it. Powerhouse Hobbs coming in here talking about like, "Oh, granted, condolences and more rest and power to his mother. They lost his mother during this time, and they were there for him, but we didn't ask for that." That's great that they helped you behind the scenes, but you're looking like a jobber on screen TV. We barely see you. We barely see him on Dynamite. What are we talking about here? Why is everybody keeps on going and driving and just ice skating past the situation right here in front of them? Yo, bottom line, black people are not being shown on this company. Oh, and here's another good one. Oh, they're fairly new. At least we have some type of representation. Look at WWE. It took them 50 years. Who ever said that it was not a problem that it took WWE 50 years to get to this point if we had black representation? Whoever said that it wasn't a problem? We're focusing on right now. And right now, your company that y'all love so much, that y'all love to cheer and troll WWE for so long, is not doing one thing for the people of this skin color that you see on this show.
Yep.
They are doing nothing. I do not want to hear any more about that. No one sees color in this situation. Even Shane Taylor had to come out and say it. If they show you who they are, believe them.
Believe it. Yeah.
Believe them. They are not for us, and it is never going to change. It's not going to change. Everyone wants to have this little false hope that, it's going to get better. It's going to go in the right direction. Probably, most likely, it's not. It's not. It's not. I don't know. Maybe you need Jade to come out and say it again. You need Jade to sit there and come out and start the conversation. You need Nyla Rose. You need Nyla Rose to come out and say it. Do we need other minorities to come out and say it for all of a sudden that we're all going to take what the black person said first? We're going to take it seriously now? Come on, y'all. It's a joke. This is corny. This type of conversation, the fact that we're even having this race conversation in regards into the wrestling business, it's corny at this point because y'all know what it is. Everybody in the IWC knows what it is, but they want to gloss over it because of black people said it. And when a black person comes out and says it, they're always the angry black woman. Oh, they're the bitter black woman. They're the bitter black man. Oh, they just weren't good enough. Who the fuck are any of us to tell a wrestler, an actual professional wrestler, when they're not good enough? Who the hell are any of us? We don't do this. We don't do what they do. We just watch. We watch and talk shit and just have fun to get views. Who the fuck are we to tell them about their craft? That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have said that any more powerfully than you did. I think that
some bullshit. Like, what are we doing here? What are we talking about?
I would like to implore everybody also who's watching this to check out WrestleNomics and their podcast about this issue in particular, because they do a deep dive and a breakdown into the viewing audiences and, gender representation and the match lengths and stuff like that. And, the representation of, top stars that have been on the two shows. Now, granted, with, any type of research presentation or anything statistical, there are things that, that are variables and that can be improved upon. For example, WWE they do have more programming across the board. So that does have an effect in some way, shape, or form. But, they do have more money, more programming, a larger roster, things of that nature. But I would implore everybody to watch that show, watch that podcast, WrestleNomics, just to get an understanding of, the business trends and to get an understanding of the viewing audiences and the breakdowns of who's wrestling on these shows. You know, I think it was very helpful and very informative. You know, as a person who tries to take in, and I think I speak for everybody when I say this, as a person who tries to take in as much information as possible, even with points of view I may not readily agree with. You know, I think that it was very enlightening to see a podcast come from a statistical and a non necessarily subjective point of view. You know, this was raw numbers and data that was collected over the past year regarding viewing trends and gender norms and race representation in both companies. And I think that it was very refreshing to see it. You know, it really sheds a light. It gives like a numerical understanding to this topic. So I think that it's like not required watching, obviously, but I think it's very helpful to see something like that.
It was a breath of fresh air. It was like, because it goes, and what made it better that, you know, granted they did it on the Fightful Select. They did it on the Fightful Select, you know.
No, that's Grapsity.
That's Grapsity.
That was Grapsity.
Grapsity did it, but Grapsity,
that was breath of fresh air. It was, yeah. Check that one out too.
And Grapsity, they did it on Grapsity. That was another group, you know. They did it on Fightful Select. They really gave they gave a more intense deep dive about the situation. It was just good to see that they were like, you know, talking about the variables, like really specifically stating exactly what Big Swole was talking about, you know, what she was talking about on her podcast, you know, comparing it to what's going on till today, what's been going on for years, for generations even. And, you know, it makes you just take a step back and realize, like, yo, this is true. Like this business or this industry, this business of itself, it was never truly like made for us. But we have to fight twice as hard. We have to fight twice as hard, work twice as hard, work twice as harder, just to even get a foot into the business.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just nice to when, and you granted, you know, they I would say, like, you know, it was good to just see Grapsity speak on Fightful Select. You know, Fightful Select is like white, you know, a white platform. They came in and just like, it was good to see that it was black folks that's actually speaking on a black issue. I would just rather that everyone takes that time, you know, just look it up, Grapsity, just look their video up. It's probably all over YouTube. It's probably getting the views as is. Like, just take a look at it, and just to see exactly what we're talking about, so maybe we can see like we're not literally sitting here like we're just bugging, we're out of our minds. Because this whole thing, the Tony Khan situation, it was character. It really came off as character assassination at this point. It was character assassination.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from the owner of a company, if Vince McMahon was the one to come out and do this, everybody would have pitchforks out.
Want to have his head on a pike.
Everybody would be going in, having a storm online, ready to come after Vince McMahon. But because it's Tony Khan, and you know, Tony is like, you know, he's a wrestling fan. He grew up on it just like we did, so he understands. It's like, no, he's also an owner too. He's an owner with money, and he doesn't have the absolute right to even say anything about anyone who's not good enough. You could say that all you want, but you could say, if you're going to say that, say it behind closed doors. Don't say it in public and think that you're going to get the same type of response. It's ridiculous at this point.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, it's highly unprofessional, and I honestly don't give a damn who disagrees, who agrees, whatever. Like, if you agree, cool. That means you understood the assignment. But if you disagree and you're not even making a point, because at this point you can't make a point, like it's unprofessional. It's unprofessional. It is deplorable to even put that. And then to defend and say, oh, he's defending his company. He's defending criticism against his company. He's always been a punk when it came to constructive criticism. Always. Just recently, just a couple months ago, we have him on live TV at a women's it was a women's show, and they brought him on, and they were speaking about women's wrestling, and they were speaking about this and speaking about that, and they mentioned, like, what is he doing for women's wrestling? He cut them right off as soon as they mentioned it. Why? Nobody's coming for your character. People are asking you a question. You simply respond to it in a professional manner. Then afterwards, you want to apologize because you're on live TV. So why couldn't you do it for the same situation here? Why couldn't you respond to it the same way? It's baffling to me that you feel you're taking it personal because people are talking about your product and you're not even showing anything different. Even after the criticism, you're not showing anything different. So I personally, I don't give a shit what he has to say. He can apologize today. I'm not gonna give a shit about it until I see results. At this moment, it's fuck the company at this point.
All I
And
want to
this is my personal opinion. Is fuck the company at this point.
I, I'll I'll agree with you on that, Striker, because I all I could say is if to like I said to any future wrestlers or to AEW fans, if y'all if y'all are okay with your boss coming out on Twitter in front of millions of people trying to say like, oh no, he just let you go because you just weren't good enough. If you're okay with that, I mean, cool. Then I guess this is cool.
It's
By all means.
it's
Stay here.
akin to, you know how they give like maybe on Glassdoor to like, when you work for a company and you're allowed to give a review
Yep.
about your experience with the company and stuff like that. That's like somebody coming out and like, let's say somebody works for Walmart or something like that. And they say, the company was really good to me. I would like to see the company maybe improve in these areas. And the CEO of Walmart comes in and replies to that and says, well, you weren't good at stocking shelves anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Completely unprofessional. It has nothing to do
Right.
with the subject matter that's being discussed, and it's
deflecting.
coming across as it's petulant, and it was unnecessary. I get it. Like this is again with her presenting her opinion. It's a subjective experience. Just like Hobbs coming out and saying like, "Oh, they helped me during this time. I was having this difficult time with my family. This, that, and the third." That's his experience.
And no one asked you. Like no one even asked about that.
Not only that, I don't want to seem like I'm just validating his experience either. He's entitled to share his opinion and everything. Right. But in the same token, it's a subjective experience. And he's entitled to his opinion if he wants to express it. Fine. Exactly. But again, that has nothing to do with the subject matter that Swole was saying. Swole never once disparaged the company, disparaged anybody that worked for the company, nor did she disparage the individual that owns it. And for him to come out and say, well, we got rid of you because I didn't think you were good enough, especially when a couple of months earlier, he's basically blowing smoke up her ass, I assume, if he meant any of that shit, saying, like, oh, she's a great wrestler. She's an asset to the company. She hasn't been on because she's been sick, this, that, and the third, and that's another thing. This is an individual who performs under duress. She has Crohn's disease and stuff like that. And let's be honest, she is not the first, nor will she be the last individual who was botched on AEW. I've seen Luchasaurus and Cesar Bononi have an absolute horrible botch on a freaking Irish whip. And for people to single out this woman saying, oh, she wasn't good, she was a botch machine, this, that, and the third, get your head out of your ass and let's look at the issue at hand. Her wrestling ability was not the issue at hand. That's not even what she was saying. Like, she wasn't even advocating for herself. She wasn't saying that she should be the one at the forefront of any division in any way, shape, or form.
She's speaking about the people that's there.
Yeah, and she's speaking also on the perspective of her daughter, who is a young child who watches the show.
Black child, exactly. Like,
so it's not like she's saying like, this company is absolutely deplorable when it comes to representation or diversity, whatever have you. She was giving her opinion on what she would like to see. And if she's not allowed to express her opinion, and if she gets a response like that when she does, who is allowed to express their opinion if it bucks the trend of what the narrative is? That's not fair to her. That's not fair to any of the talent that works for the company.
It's not.
If somebody, like, let's say, and I hate to bring it to this level, if I worked for WWE and I said that, hey, I would like to see less scripted promos or whatever have you. Again, I'm saying this as if I was a performer there, and I say I'd like to see less scripted promos, and Vince McMahon says, well, I'll get rid of you because you're not good at, your entrance or whatever have you. People should take him to task the same way that people are taking Tony Khan to task, because that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, number one. And number two, it's an unnecessary pot shot. He came across Tony Khan as a petulant child that can't handle constructive criticism. And I personally can say as a fan I'm not calling for anybody to boycott his product. I'm still a fan of AEW, and I'll still watch the product. But I lost a lot of respect for the individual that owns the company,
right?
Because that was uncalled for. He did not need to go there, and he caused this whole Twitter storm and stuff like that. He could have tempered his response a lot differently than what he said, and I lost a lot of respect for him.
But unfortunately, he did, and it's even then. You even had your other black wrestlers like Leo Rush even coming here because y'all know how passionate Leo Rush is about his people, coming out and saying that, yo, apologize. Now, even if Leo Rush then later on said that they had a discussion behind the scenes and he's assured him that this is never going to happen again. Point being is if you went and humiliate your apology needs to be as loud as your disrespect.
Absolutely.
You disrespected this woman publicly. You should have apologized publicly. You didn't. Instead, you didn't. You just went on a complete media silence. Right. You don't say anything. You're just gonna keep on retweeting and retweeting the match that was supposed to happen on Rampage with the women with with MJ and so forth.
Taikaze, NJ, and Penelope Ford in the button, right?
Yeah, and you're just trying to push that on and just say just think, oh, we're just gonna keep focusing on the matches and let's not forget that this whole thing just happened and I just said that. No, you didn't even delete the tweet. You already know. So now that already shows me as a consumer, as a viewer, that shows me you're a dick. You're a pompous dick that doesn't care about it. You don't give a shit about it when anybody how anybody feels. You don't give a shit. You just feel like because you got money and you want to sit there and keep dishing it out. You just keep dishing out the bread and be like, oh, everything goes away. Everybody's just gonna shut up. And that's not how this shit goes. You should have been apologized. Why is it not? Why the hell has Tony Khan not apologized yet? Why has Tony Khan not come on any of these wrestling podcasts or wrestling shows, even speaking to others and saying I've actually apologized to Big Swole. I've sincerely apologized. It was just all a misunderstanding. Right. And just if he even came out with that, it'd be like, all right.
So I'll interject real quick.
Wait. Hold on. Only because I've let y'all rock. I just want to get this piece in real quick. So fair. I agree with everything y'all are saying. And I'm not going to sit here and disparage anyone. I will agree that Tony came out of his face and went about it the completely wrong way. And I feel like that's around the board with a lot of people. Obviously, not everybody, because we're not everybody. At the end of the day, the people who don't like Swole, for whatever reason, be it her promo work, be it her ring work, be it what she represents, be it just the fact that she's a black woman. Okay. They were never going to like her in the first place, and they're probably the same people who don't like Sasha, who don't like Bianca, who don't like Jade, who don't like these are the people that I can say that will probably not like my daughter, and that kills me. You know what I mean? We already know Twitter is poisonous shit, but listening to a lot of different podcasts, including the ones y'all mentioned, it seems like it's the same around the board. Right. It was disrespectful. It wasn't needed. And just the fact that everybody agrees that he's acting like a child is a problem. Now, I am not perfect, and we are all voicing our own opinions. So I don't want anyone to get this misconstrued, because yes, of course, we have spoken about this off air. Excuse me. But whenever we come on here, number one, we do agree on a lot of things, but we always voice our own opinion. This is what this podcast is for. Mm-hmm. And I agree with Stretch when I say I am still an AEW fan. I will still, I still support the wrestlers that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I will thank Tony for bringing AEW to me, because AEW they have broadened the landscape. I won't say change, but they have definitely broadened it. They have given chances to many people, not just our people or people of color. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't give a fuck, because there has been, and I'm not just saying that they've just been on TV. I understand representation means more than just being on TV. I'm not sitting here saying that. So if y'all going to feel like y'all going to attack me, kiss my ass. Number one. Number two, people have had shine, and I appreciate them for that. Because without AEW, who knows if we even would know who Sean Dean is? And I mean that respectfully. Same thing with Powerhouse Hobbs. Same thing with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Same thing with Marco Stunt. Same thing with Sammy Guevara. And I'm not saying that they have not had names on the indies. What I'm saying is that when it comes to the household, when it comes to normal household names, or bringing it to the household,
giving him a national.
Yes, thank you.
Spotlight.
You know what I mean? People can go and say, "Yo, I appreciate everything you've done for this country, Sean Dean." People can say, "I relate to your story, Powerhouse Hobbs." You know what I'm saying? Like, we cannot forget. Like, yes, we might not agree with everything, and we are all in. At least with the four of us, we are all in agreement with the fact that representation matters, and it needs to be more in different aspects of the business as a whole. But I completely agree. I don't think Tony is a racist. I just think he went about everything the wrong way. Real quick,
would it be funny to say he's out of touch?
I think, I don't know if it's out of touch, than it is more so that he's just not thinking before he types.
He's
I don't know if
he's thinking. I think he's thinking.
Not like that's why I said
he's more so emotionally reactionary, but you know
very
what
much
you're
so.
I'm
willing,
willing to bet. No, let's look at the timing when this tweet happened. This happened on New Year's Eve.
No.
He could have been drunk. He didn't come out and say it. He could have been drunk
too.
But that's no excuse.
But it's not an excuse at
There's
all.
no excuse.
Not
Drunk or not, drunk or not, you see the paper trail.
Right
here, real quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Get what you said.
No. I was just gonna jump to the comments real quick.
Yeah,
Daniel.
The comments. Get some.
Daniel Price, thank you for just running this comment section.
Yeah,
brother, man, I'm not gonna get to all of them, but Swole is not good in the ring. His opinion. But Khan decided to be a defensive child and use it as ammunition to dog her, and it showed serious lack of adult professionalism. It is a pattern of behavior of his part, getting defensive over everything. He's an overgrown brat whose father never taught him how to be a man.
Lord have mercy.
Man, if he's seen
this, there was
man, if he's seen this,
yeah.
If you think Swole was going for your manhood,
I hope he do see it. You know, put us on the map.
Yeah, right. For real.
I hope he do see it.
For Matthew said, "What's going on? What's good, Matt?
Hey,
What's going on, brother? Thank you for always being a part." Sorry. This hit me, and this is why I mentioned my daughter also. I had no problem with Swole's ability. She's very good to me, but now it's pathetic. To attack her daughter now.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
Excuse me. And this is what bothers me. It's the fact of the matter that I already have to grow up or have to live in this era where I have to warn my daughter. I already have to warn her about men. That's number one. You know what I mean? Like, let's call it what it is. But I have to have her grow up in what?
Listen,
that's 2.
3 calls. 3 calls.
Oh,
that was 2. That was 3.
You're ridiculous.
All right, we're not doing this.
I already got to warn her about men.
That's not even cool. Not even cool. But horrible timing. But you know, this is the kind of shit like when you look at her, what I see is you're gonna have to grow up with more difficulty than what I had to grow up with, or what male friends of I had to grow up, because not only are you an African American woman, a mixed African American woman, let me add that, but you're a woman or an African American, you know what I'm saying? But you're also a woman, and there's already so many negative connotations and
being a woman in today's society is not an easy task. It's only gotten, it's
harder.
Much like being a minority. They'll throw you a couple of bones legislatively here and there. But
that shit is not easy either.
Women haven't, for example, the right to vote. It's not that long ago where women did not have the right to vote.
Right.
It's really not.
Let alone have a bank account.
Right.
Let alone be able to
work. It has to be a little over 60 years. That's not a long time.
Not a long time in the scheme of things.
Some of our parents are over 60. So so it's definitely not that long ago. It was only a generation ago.
Yeah.
But I think we have spent far too long on this topic.
Actually, just for clarification, women's right to vote was in 1920, so it's almost.
Okay. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Just wanted to clear that up.
I apologize. I'm not. Listen, I am not a historian. I'm not.
I just wanted to clear it up.
Maybe I'm just thinking of other shit.
No, not your fault. Make sure that we get the right information out there.
And just to clear everything up, no, I don't think none of the four here, none of us, we all know that Tony's not a racist. We already know that. We just know that he's a tone.
He's immature.
Look. At the end of the day,
deaf rat. But if we're
at the end of the day, he fucked up.
Yeah,
that's what it is. At the end of the day, he fucked up. That's like if one of us came on air and we said something, we would check each other if we were if that shit was crazy.
Absolutely.
I'm not only just checking him, I'm also checking. What I'm checking is always the racists that are in Swole's comments actually disparaging her and her family. That's what I'm doing. Well, that's what I'm speaking on.
She's putting these motherfuckers. She's putting these motherfuckers on blast now, and I completely support her with that.
Yeah. And to the people in AEW who feel that this is what they feel and this is what they agree with, come out, say what you got to say. It's not an issue. Leo came out and said what he has to say. Jade, long before this shit came up, was talking shit about why is it so hard for Black women in wrestling, to get their proper due and stuff like that. So this is really what I was trying to finish with before I cut off. You have people who said shit that are in AEW. Nyla Rose, I believe, had said something as well. Even Nyla Rose couldn't even comment on what was going on at the time. You know what I mean? So you have people of color who seen this shit and they're at a loss for words. How can you defend them? You can't. You can't defend them. But I'm happy that Leo may have had a talk with him, but TK still didn't come out and say anything. Jade just won the title yesterday.
And he might not, to be honest. But I think if that is the case, then people need to accept what happened. Forgive but don't forget.
Word that.
You know what I mean? And keep it pushing. Like the wrestling, sadly, the wrestling isn't going to stop. Neither is this bullshit. And that's not just in AEW, that's worldwide with everything.
Let's just stop the white.
Sadly.
Knighting. Let's just stop white knighting that, man. That's really what we gotta agree on. We can stop everybody can stop white knighting Tony Khan. He is not wrestling's Jesus. He's just another rich man that be on that bullshit. And we can all agree with that.
Yeah. So all right, let's switch it up. Let's switch it, the whole thing. So I want to get this over with, and I want to keep this nice and short. So QS, you are getting 3 minutes to talk as much shit as possible about what happened at day one. 3 minutes has already started, bro.
Come on.
Oh,
I'm over here. Kill me now.
I mean, if everyone y'all saw,
all right, 3 minutes up now. No, I'm just playing.
But if you guys already saw from day one, the main event, was supposed to be a fatal 4-way. It turned into a fatal 5-way. You know, it was between Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, the almighty Bobby Lashley, Big E, and Brock Lesnar. And it is only because their tribal chief, Roman Reigns, apparently coincidentally contracted COVID. You know, coincident. What a coincidence.
Really?
COVID all of a sudden.
With the way this shit is spreading, really?
I mean, doesn't help. Doesn't help. He was at a house show in Florida, so that should say something, right?
He caught COVID all of a sudden. Yeah, okay. So, of course, Paul Heyman.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody's catching COVID.
So Paul Heyman, being a smart strategist as he is, even though he's no longer the tribal chief's wise counsel, he's still Brock Lesnar's advocate. So he still has to keep a job. He has to keep a job. He's keep working. Paul Heyman's like the Rich Paul of wrestling at the moment. He just got to keep got to keep negotiating, and makes it work. So he got Brock into the match. Okay, cool. Yes, the match was 8 minutes. It was it was a fun-loving match because
it really was.
In the end,
there was a lot going on.
What happened? Big E caught that F5, and Big E lost that title to Brock Lesnar.
Oh boy!
And what I take revel in joy, no, I take revel in joy in this is because this is the second New Day member that has actually lost in quick fashion. Well, I wouldn't even say this is quick fashion.
Well, I already know where this is going now. Go ahead, continue. Please continue.
We all know. Well, I mean, the three of us know where this is going.
So and of course, it's always been a hurt. Oh my God, Big E, he just got a nice run. Oh, it's like look, it's okay. Big E, he was doing well with that belt. But this is Brock Lesnar that we're talking about here.
Wow,
for real.
Can I say something? As a former, I went to Catholic school for quite some time, and I'm familiar with Trinities.
Kofi Jesus!
Kofi lost to him. Big E lost to him. You know who's got to die next, don't you, K Marvel? You know it. You feel it in your bones.
Let's feel it
in your bones now, don't you? Deep down in your soul, you know in your loins that Xavier Woods is next.
All right, first and foremost, let's call it what it is. All right, Xavier's definitely eaten that F5 before. Like he's
but he's losing. That's what we're talking about. He's going to get the beating of his life, and it's probably going to be worse. It's going to be worse than what Kofi got. Kofi just lost.
Like you remember WrestleMania, the arcade game. He's going to get beat so bad, G4s are going to fall out of him. Stuff like that.
I hate you. That's funny. That's funny. Wait, so I did see this, and I thought I would share it with y'all. Sorry, it's going through my phone.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. It's happening.
Inevitable. I thought that was funny. I thought that was really funny. It sucks, but the best thing out of this is that we get to see Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar finally at the Royal Rumble, which I'm really excited about.
It's such a long time coming because everybody always thought that this was like the match that would just never happen. It's just like, you always teased it, you always wanted it to be, and we just be like, nah, they're just not.
Bobby wanted it.
They're not going to pull the plug. Bobby wanted it for this long.
Shit.
You never knew if Lesnar
really said what it was. They passed each other backstage, but you know who didn't want it happening, and lo and behold, we at this point.
Yeah, and now look at it. Now it's about to happen. It's at the Royal Rumble. It's confirmed that Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley will be facing each other for that WWE title. So at this point, it's just like, I don't even care. I don't even care about Brock going back and beating the shit out of their tribal chief. I don't care. I got the real main event right here. This is what I always
wanted. This is main event. That's facts.
For real though.
Pretty big.
This is a WrestleMania.
Wanted to see.
Yeah.
This should have been at WrestleMania next year, not this year. Even Royal Rumble, I think, is a disservice, but we'll see.
Why not? It's a big four. It's a huge platform.
Because
that's a super.
Sometimes some people consider. You gotta remember,
give away the money this early.
But you're not giving away any money because everybody's going to tune in anyway. And secondly, you got to remember, some people consider the Royal Rumble bigger than WrestleMania.
That's true too.
So
That's true too.
you know what I mean?
Debuts
So,
and all that stuff. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
you know, so you have to think
Right.
about it that way. Like if it was a Backlash or if it was a
Great balls of fire.
Great Balls of Fire, yeah. Like, all right, I'd be like, this is
Which we did
stupid.
get a good match at Great Balls of Fire anyway. But
No, we really had a good match.
Shout out
But
to Samoa Joe.
And Brock Lesnar. Yeah.
Word up. Good luck to Samoa Joe and everybody from NXT who was released.
Cream always rises to the top.
Yes, sir. But yeah, man, I'm really excited about that match. It's going to be a lot of fun. Roman Reigns does come back tomorrow night. He is cleared to come back to SmackDown, so we will have that Lesnar, excuse me, that Lesnar Reigns interaction, that Heyman Reigns interaction. So that's going to be real interesting.
Wait, I just want to be on SmackDown. Oh no, Lesnar's going to be on SmackDown.
Yeah.
No, Lesnar said he's going to be on SmackDown. So yeah, Heyman's going to be on SmackDown. Makes sense.
So something I want to talk about real quick.
No.
What happened?
One more thing. Acknowledge him.
Roman Reigns? Yeah, of course.
No, you acknowledge Brock Lesnar.
F5, sir. 5.
Acknowledge him. He said
that is so disrespectful.
He said,
how dare you pull up the 5 knowing that Big E just
I can't do an F.
You are
at 5. I can't do it right now.
Acknowledge him.
We already did.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
We're not acknowledging the guy who faked COVID. Yeah. We're not doing that.
Fake anything. Kicked out at 2.
He faked the COVID. He
faked anything. He kicked out at 2.
Anyway,
sure he did.
Let's talk about some of the new champions around wrestling. We mentioned her earlier. The new TBS champion is Jade Cargill.
The inaugural, the first,
the very first
champion, the first.
So respect to Jade.
We talking about first time black tag team AEW champion. We could talk about Jade in a better light. Come on, give it a praise, give it a respect.
Go ahead, you're doing
the first TBS champion. And I don't care if anybody says it's a mid-card title. She's gonna run that shit to the ground and she's gonna make it her own. Because that title is that bitch show title. And we don't have bleeps or anything on the show. So
no, not
that bitch show title.
It is.
I will. Yeah, and shout out to that Storm cosplay because
I thought you was about to don't have her come looking for us, please.
What, James?
I thought you was about to say shout out to that bitch. I was like, oh, don't do that.
not never.
I mean, she can take it as a term of endearment because she said it herself. But it's we're not doing the Dan Lambert.
Sure, we are.
We're not doing the Dan Lambert.
Nah, we're good. We are so good.
Then we shouldn't be calling women that.
Another set of champions that was just crowned was Jurassic Express.
Congrats to them. Long time coming.
To Jurassic Express for being the new AEW tag team champions.
Mm-hmm.
New Japan, they just had Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 and Night 2. So Okada, congratulations on being the World Heavyweight Champion once again. Actually, technically for the first time, but main champion once again.
The greatest.
He's the first undisputed
one of the greatest
IWGP champion. He is the first undisputed IWGP champion.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. Who else? Yoshihashi and oh my god, I almost said Gato, but it's not Gato. And Goto. Thank you.
The memorable one you don't remember, but you remember Yoshihashi. That's crazy.
I messed up the name. So what? God damn it!
Crazy.
Whatever, man. You're crazy.
How about Carmelo Hayes unifying the
Carmelo Hayes.
NXT Cruiserweight Championship and North American Championship. And I want to say that, I know there's been a lot of mixed reviews when it comes to NXT 2.0. Do yourself a favor, make some time to watch the match he had with Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong is an amazing performer in his own right. So is Carmelo Hayes. You might not feel great about, the death of the black and gold But NXT 2.0 does have a lot of potential stars.
They
on
do.
that show.
They definitely do.
Ron Breakker
Sure.
is another one. He's a new NXT
sure.
champion, and that was a damn good match with Tommaso.
That was a damn
Ciampa.
good match.
That was
like
a real good match.
But
It was like the passing of the torch, and
NXT 2.0 is going to be just fine because they now have like their solid like blue blood. These are their blue bloods that they push.
Right.
Carmelo Hayes, say what you want. Yeah, he's young, but he's an amazing performer for his age. He's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing performer. Same thing for Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker's he's 24.
He's a superstar.
Youngest.
Really is,
I think you could label him as the youngest. He's the youngest NXT champion. Youngest.
20
24.
what? Oh wow, he's 24. Shit, look older than that.
Well, that's that Steiner look.
Well,
They looked old when they were young. That's that Ric Flair thing.
When he won, me and Strike were watching the match in real time together, and I was telling him, I'm like, this kid was a year ago on the Baltimore Ravens roster, and he didn't have his first professional match, I think, if I'm not mistaken, until against LA Knight. I think that was his first professional match. Now,
I'm sorry. Who said it? Wade Barrett said that he believes that match, that championship match, might have been his 7th or 8th match.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he has not been wrestling in a very long time.
He's not been wrestling a very long time, but
he is the true definition of a rookie in this business. As far as like just the timeline, this is essentially his first calendar year wrestling, and he is a solid, he's already a solid athlete. You can look at him and tell, I was telling Stryker, I was like, that boy's a Steiner. I don't think Steiners are born. I think they're tank bred.
Right.
But,
how long is he in the tank, man? Probably 3 months.
See the genetic. I just hope to God that sometime they call him a Steiner at some point. That's just my
acknowledge it.
Just acknowledge the kid's a Steiner.
Right.
You have thousands of other trademarks, Vince. You can let this one go, but he's really catching on. He's been in the ring with some complete pros, and he's held his own.
Absolutely.
Not missed a beat. He's incredibly strong. He's agile. He's got a lot of potential. I think, honestly, and I was going to say this, for like, let's do a hot take segment, to end the show.
I missed that one.
I honestly think that by the end of the year, he's going to be a main roster champion of some sort.
Yep.
The end of this year?
End of this year.
End of this year. He's going to be in the Royal Rumble. He's going to be in the Royal Rumble.
He can do it.
To me, he's the next big thing. I honestly
he could definitely
pushing him to the moon.
Yeah, and I think we said this before. I'm sorry, I was just going to say, I think we said this before where, we were talking about, who would take that belt off for Reigns. And Braun definitely could be the person.
Very much.
He could definitely be that person.
It's not him.
I feel like I'm missing.
It's Walter, or
it could be Walter,
or Drew.
I think there's also another thing we should even talk about. I know we've seen like a lot. Of course, this grand of things. We've seen a lot of these releases. We've seen a lot of people getting released. WWE's gone through their normal range of cuts. They've cut a lot of the in-house. A lot of the people that was from the Black and Gold NXT brand, but there was one particular release that did happen that stood out for a little bit. Was not even that she didn't get fired, she just left. Toni Storm, and her coming out and even saying that she of course she decided to quit because the calendar year, WWE's calendar year, it's strenuous, it's taxing. She missed a lot of milestone events for her family that she wanted to be a part of,
funerals and stuff like that too.
And then she also what stood out for me is what she said. She just didn't feel okay with losing to a so-called queen that brandishes herself, that wants people to bow down to her, but and will be done with it. And of course we all know that's in regards to Charlotte. And I just wanted to speak on this. I think in regards to the WWE women's division, it is probably still the best out of all. They still have the best matches I wouldn't say best matches, but the most best talent going forward so far. It's just on paper, it's still kind of would say it's the best talent on paper. But I think in regards, it's just in the division regarding, SmackDown and Raw, it's this ongoing problem just seems to always just be with these particular two champions. Yeah, of course, I'm speaking on Charlotte, and I speak on, unfortunately, you got to speak on with Becky Lynch as well. I say that because I think I remember a time back when Bayley was champion, and when Bayley was champion of SmackDown, one thing that you always could count on Bayley being champion is there was always opportunity, correct? Everyone was getting an opportunity. Everybody was getting a shot. Even though Bayley kept winning and she cheated to win, it still made it good and believable because she still ended up really putting that person over.
Right.
Yep. Same thing. You could even say the same thing when Sasha ended up.
Yeah, Sasha did the same.
Sasha was still giving opportunity. When Asuka was champion on Raw, it was always a fucking opportunity in that women's division. So this is what made it even more grand. But yet, and it's crazy how it's to see, it's like with the 4 horsewomen, you see with Bayley and Sasha when they were both holding these belts, it's a hella entertaining. Still, it's entertainment factor. Yet when you have Becky and Charlotte as champion, it's just meh. Becky being a heel, she's doing what she has to do as the heel. That's cool and everything. But even then, like the match she just had with Liv Morgan,
great match.
This was a great match. This was finally the match where you knew you really didn't think for a second like, damn, who's actually gonna win this one? You would have won. It would have been. This is when you really would have wanted to see Liv win, but of course she didn't. Becky wins again. It's like, okay, Becky's winning again
in a good fashion too, and not cheating. Like I think
who
Becky
cheated to win.
She tried to cheat.
Oh, she tried
to her in the eye when she was hitting her
in the eye.
Also, break the eye.
Then I'm sorry, it was smarter. Whatever.
Yeah,
either way, it was a dope finish.
Well, if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat.
But now look at it with Charlotte. Like Charlotte basically she did the same thing. She beat Tony, cheated to win, right? But now you didn't even see Charlotte on day one. You don't even see.
Nope.
Like this is what's starting to. This is what's starting to be a problem now when you have the likes of Charlotte as champion now. Yeah. Charlotte now, like we've all can agree and say that Charlotte's probably the best one out of the 4 horsewomen. Yes, athletically she's the best. But now I think she knows she's the best. So now that she knows she's the best, she's basically it's going to the old back in the day bookings where it's just like, well, I don't really need to do much. I like before she was coming on saying she's the opportunity. How like it's coming off as like now you're just basically pigeonhole your steam. You're just holding this title hostage.
It's like somebody who looks good and finally realizes that they look good. You know what I mean? Like and then
I have a hot take.
It's difficult.
It's difficult to really. I only will say it's just going to be really difficult for anyone to really get invested. I guess in anyone in the women's division now, as long as the likes of Charlotte and Becky Lynch even are still champion. Like you honestly, even when Becky is champion, a lot of you would have never thought that Liv Morgan was actually going to be like getting a shot. You would have never in years you would have been like Liv Morgan, nah. You would have never Becky Lynch giving Liv a shot. Yeah, okay.
That's kind of why I wouldn't knock Becky because I see the opportunities on Becky's end. I get what you're saying.
It's like
Charlotte's been a long time problem.
But it's like, you see where it's like it's the opportunity, but she cheats to win. She still cheats to win. So it's just like, okay, you're given the opportunity, but you're not putting them over. You're just not putting them over though. Like still losing. They lose in like weird, like either botched fashions or just like, oh well, that lost again. Becky's just gonna like basically just stay holding on to this Raw Women's title until everybody gets bored of her. Like, yo, we're bored of seeing Becky as champ now. We don't need to see her as champ. I just think like I just personally wish that if Sasha was, I don't know if she's injured or not, if she was just back in the title picture, or hell, if Bailey was back, I would have wanted to see, like, would this still have been the same thing if those two were champion compared to Rebecca Quinn and Ashley Flair?
I see your point.
I was real lost for a second.
Yeah,
You caught me off guard with that one. I was oh, okay.
I think that one of the things that the WWE has gotten right is booking contenders for the Raw Women's Championship.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what's going on SmackDown.
We don't know.
I can't knock Becky right now, especially now seeing that Bianca's back in the picture.
But they've also done pretty decently with the contenders for the title.
Yeah.
Because now you have Bianca Belair, who never really was out of contention per se, who had a mini feud
had her
with
beef.
Doudrop.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan has made a hell of a showing for herself in the past two matches against Becky Lynch.
Even the promos, like her promos.
Yeah, promo work.
Really honestly, good. their program period has been great.
Yeah, I think it's been one of the highlights of Raw, which has been a lackluster show in the past year or so.
Right.
And I would say with Doudrop added to the mix, it adds a little bit of a wrinkle to it, and I think personally, if they add the more they add Doudrop to the mix, the better the feud will be.
Yeah,
because Doudrop, I think Doudrop is fantastic, and I think she's one of the more underrated stars on the roster. I think that she really can go.
Well, Stretch, just to add to your point too, I feel like a lot of people, especially stateside, hasn't seen
what she can do.
I really hate calling her Doudrop, but
yeah,
I feel like they haven't seen what she can do. Like, we've watched her in other companies, and we've watched the whole titles and put on some fucking wonderful matches. You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking her work now, not by any means.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really want to see who she is in terms of her range, you got to watch her elsewhere, which is true.
But then again, I feel like that's the majority of the people in the WWE.
Right.
So
majority of people.
But
I'm saying if you want immediate, you got to watch her NXT UK work. You have to.
Yeah.
You have
really
to,
good.
especially her title chase.
Watch her work outside of that. You watch her work in the Indies. And say what you want about the Peacock move from the WWE Network. They've been uploading a lot of that indie progress stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the European indie shows and stuff. You guys should really check that out if you really want to see how good.
Do they put up
Piper Niven is?
Did they put up ICW too or no?
Yeah, they have some ICW shows up there.
Okay, that's cool. Probably the one with Finn coming back and all of that.
A lot of the shows. If you're a fan of NXT UK, which you should be because it's really good.
Really good.
If you're a fan of NXT UK, you will be a fan of it.
Right.
Just pull it. Right. I was going to ask you, post that last comment that Daniel had posted up, because
hold on, let me get there. Fox.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Daniel says Fox requested Charlotte on SmackDown personally. After that, her ego got way bigger.
Of course.
And that's the problem. It's like she knows. This is what I was trying to make point. It's like she knows she's good. She knows she's good. She knows she's the best thing on there. So so now it's just she feels like, well, she can do what she wants. I feel like it shouldn't be fair. The only person that's really in contention for the SmackDown Women's Championship is Sasha Banks. It shouldn't, because it shouldn't.
There's so much talent.
I'm still trying to figure out what happened to Shotzi.
Shotzi's still there. She is still there, but it's just
I haven't seen her for weeks, months.
But again, you're not using. You don't want to use Shotzi. You don't want to use Shotzi as the next contender. You had a chance for it to be Charlotte and Toni Storm, and it wasn't. Right. The last match was actually pretty good. It could have been a good segment. This could have been a great feud, but I guess Toni was burnt out. She got burnt out. She was just like, I'm tired of it. I'm not dealing with that right now.
I want to go home. And then she has
every
right to do that.
You have every right. Fuck it. You have every right. You take your ball. You go home. Fuck. It is what it is. But now it just makes you wonder, what are we to do? Does that mean that you have to bring the likes of Zoe Stark? You have to bring the likes.
Bring them up.
No, you don't have to bring anybody up. You have a perfect contender.
Wait,
You
hold
have
on.
a
But
perfect
you,
contender
wait.
in the division.
You say this, but at the same time, if Raquel went up, you'd be hype as hell.
Okay, but I'm saying so if we started off with AEW having the issue of using their current talent, why do I need to pull from NXT when you have Xia Li, you have Shotzi,
That's
you
why.
have a
That's
whole
why.
bunch of other
No, I
SmackDown
agree.
talent to do that?
No, but I was about
I'm not knocking that.
That's who I think is going to get.
I think Xia Li is the perfect person. It goes with her storyline of being the protector. And who's does the protector beat up? Bullies.
Yeah, who's
Charlotte's a big bully right now.
That works.
Yeah.
That's why I was going to
No.
go.
I completely agree with you.
I would
My
like,
But
thing
at
is-
the same time, when you look at it, with the way that SmackDown has been with the women's title, are they going to give it to her? No.
We
What they
don't know
would
that yet.
do,
don't
you're
know
right.
that
You're
yet.
right. You're absolutely right. But
Because Charlotte
But we
has
know-
Charlotte has at least, and I will say this, as much as she's a bitch, and everybody doesn't want to say, I'll say it, as much as she may be a bitch,
wow,
she's actually been giving people matches. Her match with Shotzi was not a bad match at
no,
all.
not at all. But Charlotte's one of those people where she doesn't have bad matches often. So her against anybody,
she'll make it look good.
like, and not that I'm saying it's gonna be a great match.
but
For her, anybody is gonna be a good match.
Right.
She'll make
You know what I mean? The reason why the first person I thought of was Raquel was because of her stature, the way she carries herself, the way she's grown in NXT, you know, and her demeanor. And all of that brings to the forefront where and I'm not disagreeing with you. I do think Xia Li is a perfect match for Charlotte right now.
That actually is a good match. I would actually tune in for that. Like
Xia?
Xia Li versus
Charlotte. Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great. But I sadly I don't see her taking the title off her.
But that's the problem.
Things can happen.
But again,
I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying I personally don't see it.
But
because of the way history has been.
But K Marvel, see, that's the point that I'm trying to make. It's like you're like, because of these two particular champions, you're not even that invested to think like they're not going to take that belt off her. I agree with you. You don't believe it? I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's sad that we're at that point where, like, when it just comes specifically Charlotte and specifically Becky Lynch, that when these two put these titles on the line, we're just not convinced. No one's convinced that they're gonna ever lose these titles. Becky's held on to this belt for like a good what? You could say she's held on to.
She's been back.
I would say
about a year.
I would say that it's not necessarily
for Charlotte
from a standpoint of them having the titles, whether they'll ever lose it. We know they're going to lose it at some point.
Exactly.
The point is, I think, are they willing to have them lose it and build a new star from them losing those titles? I think that's where the concern comes from. Xia Li to me is a perfect choice. And I was going to say this. I personally think, geez, I really need to start. We're going to do this ending like the show with the hot take. I really need to come up with a different hot take. I was going to say that I think a SmackDown women's star is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble.
Interesting.
Okay.
And to be perfectly honest, if Asuka doesn't appear on SmackDown, because Asuka is
Asuka's going to Raw. Asuka's going to Raw. Asuka's going to Raw.
No.
Her and Bailey have a story to finish. Her and Bailey have a story. Not Bailey, sorry. Her and Becky have a story to finish.
Fair. But also, you got to look at it this way. You know, if she goes to SmackDown, that's an instant match too, because it's a big name.
Yeah.
It's a big name. And you can't also shy away from name power and star power. But I was going to say this. If Asuka is not in play for winning the Royal Rumble for SmackDown, Xia Li to me is a perfect pick to win the Women's Royal Rumble. You can instantly slide her into that spot.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What about Naomi?
Naomi's another one.
Naomi-
That's what I like about. I can honestly say
with everything going on,
With
like with the way
everything
she's
going
been
on.
treated.
with the way she's been
Naomi's-
treated and everything,
It's
the
a
story
great
writes-
way. It's a great way to
That's a great
stick it to
story.
the man
Story writes
That's a great
itself.
or the
story.
woman in
Story
this
writes
case.
itself. If she
Yeah,
wins,
that's a great
that's the
story.
thing.
Yeah,
With
right,
I
right.
think with this Royal Rumble field, we really don't know who's going to win, men
Yeah,
or women.
the women's
And
women's
right,
Rumble
in
is
both.
To me,
In
that's
both.
when it's the
Both are
best.
very up in the air.
That's
Yep.
when it's the best to me, when you really don't know who's going to win that
Yeah,
match.
absolutely. Honestly, I can't wait to get to that Royal Rumble our show before the Rumble. I think that's going to be a lot of fun for us. Talking about the Royal Rumble and the history and then who we think is going to win. So
Mhm.
please, people, be in tune for that.
Yes.
Just for an update, if you don't know, the Royal Rumble is on the 29th
Right.
of January.
Saturday.
It is on a Saturday. So,
It's the Royal Rumble.
so I feel like a lot of us do.
2 days before my birthday.
Damn, I work
Woo.
that day. I'm about to. Never mind. So let's talk about. Let me not incriminate myself on this podcast.
1 3
Um,
1.
Bruce, get in
Right.
here. Let's make it a classic Royal Rumble.
Oh,
Get
God.
Superfly Jimmy Snuka, the Earthquake, the Mighty Hercules, Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior,
That's
Macho
two.
Man, Randy Savage.
Oh,
That was a laugh cough. That was a laugh.
A laugh call.
Like, sir,
And
how
then
we getting,
demonstrated it.
sir, how we getting half these guys back from the dead? Okay.
Yeah, right? I was just about to say the
Bruce,
same
get in
damn
here.
thing. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait. We have seen zombies on WWE television, sir.
Bro,
So
if
maybe.
I see a zombie match, I'm never watching WWE again. I'll tell you that. That's what I.
Oh,
That's what I
you know,
draw.
Lacey Evans is another good. I forgot about Lacey Evans. Wow.
But
Yeah, I
here's,
was actually
why I'm
gonna-
saying SmackDown could really be stacked.
But then
Like,
Lacey
Charlotte
Evans,
could
but
really.
it all depends on where they go.
but you can never get behind Lacey Evans because her character it's just heel, straight
Right.
heel.
Yeah, I can't
No
buy that
matter
character.
what.
It's so heel. It's so good though.
Damn, you can't cheer for
It's
this.
so good.
You can't cheer her no matter how
But
funny it is.
but
You
if she
can't cheer.
won, fans would go nuts. Fans would be real hyped for a good 2 weeks.
Yeah, her and Charlotte would have a great program. And I can only
Haven't they had one already?
Yeah, they
That
had
woman's right.
a great program. Yeah, they did.
That woman's right. I'm telling
They
you,
did.
that woman's right.
She does make it look good. Not gonna lie. She makes that right hand look dope.
We'll see. We shall see.
But Charlotte has a lot on her plate. Charlotte has,
She has
a
a lot.
lot.
She just needs to make it look good and put them over, and not make her like standing out.
I don't think. But that's the thing. I don't think she's really look. As much as we say, she does her BS. We know this. I don't think Charlotte has ever really made anybody look bad in ring, at least.
Yeah.
Besides maybe
I can agree with that.
the recent Nia Jax thing, or
Yeah, that was bad.
They were both
the
going at it.
segments, or the segments. You understand what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't think she's been that bad.
Like,
Now you can say what you want about personality, cool, but in ring, I think she's put on a show. At least benefiting both.
Look,
people.
listen, let's call it what it is, man. At the end of the day, Charlotte's going to go down as one of the best women wrestlers
Of course,
in the
Yeah,
WWE of
yeah.
all time.
No question.
You know what I mean?
No one ever contends
And, and honestly, she might, to a lot of people, she might end up being the best in there.
She's definitely.
Wait till she goes international.
She's gonna end up beating her
wait.
dad streak. That's literally what it's all about. She's gonna end up beating her dad streak, and we know.
Yeah, that's happening.
She's gonna beat that reign. She's gonna beat it.
But yeah, gentlemen, was there any other topics during the week or 2 weeks that y'all want to, or at least just touch on real quick before we close out the show?
I mean, we were going to talk about the shows, weren't we?
Other than
What
the
shows?
No,
Yeah,
I mean, we don't have to. We don't have to
We don't have to go in
run
depth,
through
obviously.
everything. I mean, we already know Bobby is facing Bobby is facing Lesnar. Yeah, it's the L's. It's the
BL.
L. They're both
have the
BLs.
same initial. We get it. That Bobby is facing Lashley.
Look at him. How dare you disrespect the Almighty? That's exactly what's going through his head.
No, that's not what he did.
Oh, so what?
That was a third cough. Yo, we about to be out of here.
What, him?
Yes, him.
We about to get out of here. Put the show down.
Because we ain't doing this.
He's about to star in Buck Wild You.
Yeah. We already know that Bobby Lashley is going to win. We know.
Yeah, I mean that's the
it's going to be
right. That's the biggest story out of Raw. Oh my god!
It's going to be a beautiful thing to see, and it's going to be great because then I get to revel in that glory and always rub it in K Marvel's face that the only true champion is the Almighty.
Yep.
And it's not,
you make it. Hold on, wait, time out.
Not some champion that was out here gyrating his hips and talking about booty.
Why are you trying to make it sound like
never?
Like I'd be mad if Bobby Lashley beat Brock Lesnar. I wouldn't be mad at all. You insane?
Because sir, you are not part of the movement. You are not part of the movement. You're part of the New Day movement. You stay over on that side.
I am. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I still remember when you cheered when Big E went and stole that title from Lashley. I still remember.
Hell yeah, I did.
We're not gonna do this. So
what the money in the bank is all about, baby.
With that being said,
yeah, he could have went for the act. He could have went for the actual prize, man.
Whatever, man.
Lashley alone.
He said, "I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna win," and that's exactly what he did. If anything, it shows that he's a man of his word. So,
yep, it sure got F5 to show for it. Now, guess what?
Yes, so did everybody else except Bobby Lashley.
Except Bobby Lashley, exactly.
Lashley had him in the hurt lock.
He damn
Lashley speared him and had him in the hurt lock.
You saw the way he sold it.
He was.
I don't know if Brock
he was selling.
I'm interested in that match, win, lose, or draw.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
One more thing.
It just might be the match stealer. It might steal
match of the night. It's not a steal in the show if it's going to be the best match of the night. It's no steal in the show. Come on.
They haven't had that.
That's the match to beat.
Big match, like that big fight feel in quite some time. This is like watching, Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler or something like that, like Tyson versus Holyfield, like on that big fight night to see these two titans clash. Bruce, get in there.
That's it. Money. It's a money match.
We're not going to have Bobby Lashley beat Brock Lesnar. You know who's going to beat Brock Lesnar? Hulk Hogan.
Wait, hold on. If we don't remember, Brock Lesnar F5 the shit out of Hogan too.
Yes, he did. He destroyed Hogan.
He did.
Oh my god!
He put his blood on his chest. Put his blood on his chest.
That's one of my favorite matches, believe it or not. I actually remember where I was sitting for that moment. And you see Heyman on the outside. He beats him with a bear hug. And you see Heyman on the outside.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Squeeze. And I'm like, squeeze the tan off of him, Brock.
Squeeze the tan off. Oh, my God.
Oh, so speaking of...
He didn't even tap out. The referee just called the stoppage.
Yeah, it had to be ref stoppage.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm going to watch that now.
You're welcome.
And also, very much so, a shout out to Paul Heyman doing what an amazing human being would do, and put over Bobby Lashley and Big E in the way that he did in that.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
He did not say anything derogatory about neither of those men, and he said, I told you about Bobby Lashley. I told you that Hurt Lock is something serious, and he sold the shit out of that Hurt Lock.
Hell yeah, he did.
And he even put over Big E, and he said, yes, you're a great champion. Yes, you would have won the championship, and he basically
you would have kept it. Yeah. He said you would have kept it if it wasn't for the fact that Brock Lesnar was in it. Yeah.
So I appreciate him, and I don't care if anybody says that's pandering. They did exactly what they had to do after the debacle that happened the night before. Come on. And it was a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. But I'm very happy. I can't wait to see that match. I'm going to find another. I'm probably going to buy my Her Business t-shirt finally. And we're going to wear that for the Royal Rumble birthday weekend.
That'll be good. All right, y'all. This has been a lot to take in. These last couple of weeks have been a lot for most wrestling fans. So the only thing, oh, excuse me. So the only thing that we hope is that things progressively get better. You know what I mean?
Can only hope.
And we have a couple weeks before the Royal Rumble. We will be back next week towards closer of the end of the week. We gotta talk about that one. But we will be back next week, guys. And let's take them out, y'all. Let's do what we do.
Sir.
Sir. I know. I did that on purpose.
No.
Yeah, no, you got it right. Well, you can find me. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Big Stretch, Human Encyclopedias, Instagram, Jador Sopio, Twitter, Jador Stretch. Bruce, get in there. Follow him on Twitter. Make sure you watch what he posts.
Pause.
Hulk Hogan.
Oh my God.
And the earthquake.
And the earthquake.
Get the gobbledygooker.
Oh God!
What?
Don't give him any ideas in case he does watch.
Oh,
Nah, man, that'll be Tozawa. That's all it is.
Oh, please. Oh,
disrespectfully.
Let me at least end on an educated point. Speaking of representation, WWE could do a better job with Asians as far as representation goes.
Yeah.
Freaking putting Akira Tozawa in a ninja suit and having jacket time on TV acting like two goons.
If that
You can do
doesn't
better
scream,
than that.
like if that doesn't scream, like what? The fuck?
That's just bad. That's bad.
There's no reason for Kushida to be in this team. Like zero. It's Kushida. He's one of the best junior heavyweights ever.
Yeah.
Like, come
We
on.
don't
Man.
have junior heavyweights, pal. We have cruiserweights.
But
not anymore.
Oh, not anymore. Yeah. Hell.
We have 205 Live and no champion.
That's an excellent point. Move on. Let's do the rest of the outro. Yeah, that's an excellent point. I'm sorry, I hijacked the outro.
Come on, Theo.
Snazzles,
Kiss
you already
FM.
know the good old QS Quiet Storm, Mr. After Hours, good old Kiss FM himself. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter on Forever Thiefing. Like I said, just don't watch this. I'm low key shadow banned, but that's just neither here nor there. That's just you could blame the IG algorithm, but still. Thank you all for the likes and all the shares. Thank you guys also for the follows. But follow me and let's vibe. Let's have a good time. I'm here for the laughs. I'm here for a long time and a good time.
Okay. And anti but similar Drake moves. Heard you. And I am Striker Dragoon. I am the commish. I am on Instagram. I'm on the Twitter and the Twitch.
That's what I typed.
And follow me everywhere. I'm streaming. I'm tweeting. I'm posting pictures. That's what I do.
And as always, K Marvel. You can follow me at Mr. Marvel87. You can also follow me on Twitch. Excuse me, I did that way wrong. Instagram and Twitter at Mr. Marvel87. Twitch is at Mr. Marvel_87. Come follow me. We chat. Always follow the Four Corners of Commentary on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. I have to correct that actually. Is the Council of Commentary. On TikTok, it's at Council of Commentary.
Mm-hmm.
And on Twitter, it's at CO Commentary.
Yes, sir.
And as always, you can find us on all your streaming platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Audible, iHeartRadio, just to name a small few. Just look for the logo with the purple ring and the 4 announcers desk, which seems like an old school. Well, by old school, I mean like 2010s WWE freaking what was it? When they had the Spanish announce table and the Japanese announce table.
Oh yes.
And oh god, it's too many. It's just
they had the Indian announce table. They had
United
Russian
Nations
announce table. Right?
Yeah.
Commentary.
Pretty much.
Was that their way of saying that? Oh, we're universal guys. Was just like we're international.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
But as always, guys, we appreciate y'all. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. We will always read them and take your criticism. We might not agree with it, but we'll read it. But as always, y'all, we are the
We
Four
won't
Corners of
TK you.
Commentary, and and we're out.
Bruce.